call themselves pro-choice and pro-life. Is abortion moral at all? 44% say yes, 47% say no. And we could dig into some more of the specific numbers, but we'll have some time down the road to do that. But the idea that in the mainstream media would have you believe this, the most... That's right, you know, I was reading a writer. He said, don't use the term mainstream media, because they're way outside the mainstream of American thought. Sure. I mean, they're the mainstream of media, but that's like saying the mainstream of Antifa meetings.
Yeah, that's a good point, because as you just pointed out there are more people in America that think abortion is immoral than moral. Well, that's not what you would take from the media. So, no, they're not mainstream.
So what do you call them? The progressive media?
I like corporate media pretty good as a term, but I don't know what's a good term when you're talking about all the big newspapers, the big TV channels.
The corporate left media. If you have a great idea, send it along. Mailbag@armstrongandgetty.com. You can email us anytime. Mailbag@armstrongandgetty.com. And I'd look at most of them, although the volume has become a little extreme lately.
And I personally think those of you who've been fighting the fight forever to make abortion illegal, I think you're better off fighting the fight to make it illegal after the first trimester, because that's something you could actually pull off. I think you could actually get that done if you marshal the forces.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And you would save a lot of babies, perhaps. Although it's complicated and sensitive subject, certainly. But I wanted to get to this one. A unanimous Supreme Court ruling the other day. Supreme Court on Monday ruled for a man suing police for entering his home to check on his mental health. And taking his guns and keeping them. They ruled unanimously that police are not completely free to enter someone's home without a warrant on the grounds that they are checking the person's health or well-being. A community caretaking exception to the law. Clarence Thomas, writing for the court, acknowledged that precedent allowed officers to undertake a warrantless search of a vehicle for a firearm. Mentioned the caretaking tasks police often perform in modern society, etc., etc. But what is reasonable for vehicles is different from what is reasonable for homes. And interestingly, they were overruling the U.S. Court of Appeals for the First Circuit, who said, no, that's all fine, but they unanimously spanked them, which I find, notable. But this guy, he and his wife have an argument. She calls the cops, says, I'm worried about his mental state. So the cops come into the home. He says, I'm fine. But they say, no, you got to go for a mental health evaluation. Meanwhile, they confiscate all his guns and ammunition and won't give them back to him until he sues the city. And the suit ruled unanimously that was overreach.
Sure seems to be.
Which I find notable. There's also, with the time left, a ruling that's too complicated to explain to you. And the court ruled 7-1 in